I am tired of Aventus-y clone-ish type fragrances. I think we all are. Anybody in this frag-com space is probably exhausted about anything that is probably exhausted with anything that's similar to the Aventus space. Now I'm in a conundrum. I'm in a weird space right now. I'm very conflicted because I requested this fragrance from Max Aroma. I looked at the notes and I saw comparisons and everybody's like, yo, it's just another Aventus-ish type scent profile. But I got more than that. So this isn't a first impressions. This is more like a first wear and what happened during that first wear. Let's roll my music so I can put you onto M.Micallef Royal Vintage.
You sexy motherfucker. Cubaknow. We're all alone. In case you cared, out of all your friends, I want to be Cuba.
Blessed morning, my beautiful peoples. You know who it is. It's your boy, C to the U to the B to the A. M.Micallef Royal Vintage. Has that same presentation as Desire Toxic, only in that kind of concrete slate metallic style look. I think it's a very handsome bottle, but who cares about the presentation right now? Let's talk about the scent. Let's get the simplistic thought process out of the way. It is in the Aventus-ish space, which I know a lot of people are already gonna be like, next video. But wait, because I want to go through the process live and direct with y'all right now on the type of vibe that I was getting off of this fragrance. Now, the purpose of me not doing a first impression on this one is because if it was Aventus-ish, I wanted to see if it was even worth it. Like, why spend the time on this fragrance if it's just going to be another Aventus clone or alternative? But it wasn't exactly that. And I'm experiencing it right now as we speak. This fragrance, if I can put it into like simplistic words, is Aventus had to step over to the side for a better version of itself to come through. Now there's fragrances like Hachivat that are better interpretations of Aventus in my opinion. Now this, next to Hachivat, I feel is different and slightly sexier and a hint of more mystery. There is a big, smoky, nicotine-ish kind of punch in here that lingers in the air, along with this real mossy greenness that comes off of this fragrance that gives it so much character and body that it threw me for a loop. The problem is that my brain receptors are just firing Aventus, Aventus, Aventus because of that black currant juiciness. And it has, again, somewhat of the DNA of Aventus once you smell it. If you know Aventus, you're gonna pinpoint it and kind of disregard it. But I don't want you to do that if you decide to test this fragrance out, because it has so much character and body off of my skin that it really threw me for a loop. Like right now, there is such a deep, smoky, cigarette-ish kind of vibe in here that isn't off-putting to me, but gives it so much separating factor from what we know as the Aventus DNA. And that combination with that green moss adds this extra level of like real rugged, beat up leather. Like it has this vintage 80s leather vibe about it that is so fire off of my skin that makes me want to wear it more and makes me look at Aventus in almost an appreciative way. Kind of like good looking for opening that door, but understand that the student has superseded the master and has taken that DNA and cultivated his own style of Wing Chun. Like this shit is fire. It's a real sexy Aventus adjacent type fragrance with a lot more masculinity for me. Let me hit you with the notes. So it's bergamot, pink pepper, apple, cypress, thyme, jasmine, moss, patchouli, musk, and amber. This joint is fire. This joint is like if Aventus took a hiatus in Russia and learned like old school wrestling and shit and went through like a camp boosted with steroids and came out with a full-fledged beard, diesel ass accent, and like 72-inch bicep arms. The performance on this fragrance wasn't bad. It was around that 7-hour mark, but it wasn't a big projection beast off of my skin. It was something more for me to enjoy because I'm not an OD sprayer. Like I'm sure if you go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sprays, then you're gonna have a completely different experience. But for me, it was more about me figuring out and dissecting if this is a fragrance that I would recommend, or I would tell y'all, yo, sample this joint because it has enough difference from Aventus to make it interesting. And I 100% feel that way. In that one day wear, the experience that I had actually superseded Hachivat for a little bit. So I would personally pick this over Hachivat and Aventus at this point, if we're gonna be putting it in the bubble. This has the sex factor, it has an extra oomph of testosterone in it, that extra masculinity portion. You gotta be appreciative of kind of like that nicotine cigarette kind of smell to understand that smoky aspect here and the mossiness that comes through with still the sweet nuances of the apple, bergamot, and kind of that black currant-ish type vibe that I get from it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give this a 7.1. This is a very good scent profile. I really enjoyed this fragrance a lot more than I anticipated. I went with it to kind of shit on it on some like another expensive hype beast Aventus clone. It turned out completely left than what I thought it was gonna be. For me, it's an absolute full ball spray, and this will be kind of one of these safe bets if I wanted to go with that Aventus type shit, but really switch it on them. Ball spray. You get that apple and you get that pineapple-ish type vibe, but that nicotine cigarette mossiness with a little bit of a sweet ambery kind of vibe is fuego, y'all. I'll put a link in the description. Shout out to Max Aroma for sponsoring today's video. Guys, sample. Don't buy a full bottle. Sample if you want to see Aventus turned over. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. If you tried this joint, let me know your thoughts and I'll see y'all such next time. You know what it is, biggest in the game. Smooches.
What's fresh? Who's best? Wanna know who's gonna pass the test?
For the fly gun holder, money folder, Motorola start tag when it's time to call back. For the rough, rugged, and raw way, this nigga Jay, it's a game, but he don't play. Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would